Welcome back to the WHHI News. Joining me now, Cinda Seamon with Hilton Head Fire Rescue. She's here to talk about how we can do our heating of our homes. It gets chilly every so often and do it safely, right?
Right.
What do you want to start with?
Let's start with space heaters. They're economical. So many people use them. They're easy to get. They're economical, as I said, easy to use. The only thing is we really need to be careful. Space heaters need to be plugged directly into the wall. It's really important.
Extension cord?
We went to a home actually and we found a space heater that had an extension cord, and the woman was not very mobile. She'd had surgery, had trouble getting around, so she was slow to move. And she had the space heater plugged into an extension cord which had melted into each other. Had a fire occurred, she would have had a very hard time getting out because of just getting out of surgery. Sure. She had no idea. Luckily, we went ahead and unplugged it from the wall, and we could not separate those plugs from each other. They were completely melted into each other. And I think people don't even think that could happen. So I'm so glad we noticed that, got her situated. She was getting a new space heater. Told her how important it is to plug directly into the wall. The other thing is make sure you get one with a tip over feature. If it tips over, it's going to turn off.
Perfect. I mean, you really do need that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
If you've got a pet around or young kids or whatever, even if you somehow bang into it.
Exactly, because that's how a fire would start if it turned over. The other thing is keep it 3 feet away from anything combustible. That's, your couches and chairs and beds.
Anything that could possibly catch on fire.
Right. You shouldn't use them at night. And here's the thing. You go to bed and you have it 3 feet from the bed and you think, I'm fine. Until your comforter comes off in the middle of the night. Or, think of your bedding.
On top of it or something. Yeah.
And your bedding is all over the place by the next morning. It could so easily catch on fire. So we really say, please don't use those space heaters at night.
So here's a question, though. If your outlets, you're in an older place or whatever, and your outlet is way the heck away from where you normally sit or whatever, would you say to that person, you need to move closer to where that thing can be directly plugged in?
If they feel like they need to, hey, I'm still really cold and I'm not getting the heat, you need to move. Do not use an extension cord.
I really didn't know that. I didn't know it.
Under any circumstances, do not use it.
Good advice.
So, but they do work well and they do keep people warm. We would rather have them use that than their oven, which we saw recently.
What kind of ovens? Is it just gas ovens? Is
they
it
just
electric
open
ovens?
the oven. They just
Crank
open the oven
door.
door.
Like 450 or 500.
Well,
or so?
think of it when you're baking cookies. You open it and think, oh, that feels good. They're warm.
Yeah.
And they've used candles.
Well, what about the oven? Why not use my oven? I hate to say this. What happens if I use my oven to warm up my house?
It's not very energy efficient.
No, I know that, but I want to know safety-wise.
It's not meant for that. It's not meant to heat an house or a room.
Right, or be running so long.
Exactly, running so long at full speed. So we definitely don't want to do that.
Okay.
And some people will use space heaters and other things to dry their clothes, believe it or not, draping them nearby.
Not good.
And that's another problem. One of the colleges, not around here, but I found out up north, the kids were, the biggest cause of fire at that school was drying their clothes in the microwave.
Oh my goodness.
Never mind the metal zipper on the jeans, but the microwave. So you dry your clothes in the dryer or just hang them up to dry. But when you start hanging them too close to space heaters, over heaters, things like that, over lamps, so that they'll dry. So people get very creative, I guess we'll say, in
not in a good way,
thinking,
though, right?
How can I do this? And how can I save money on my power bill? And I feel bad that they're in a position where they have to consider that for heating.
How well do candles heat people? Are people really
They don't
use candles?
really. They do. We were someplace recently where they had several candles, like a whole bunch of them in a group, and no, they don't really radiate much heat.
And not a good idea.
No, not
What
at
about
all.
fireplaces and whether they're electric or they're wood or gas or whatever?
Right. Well, the thing is, fireplaces are great, but again, we have to use them safely. Let's make sure we have glass or screen in front of those.
Right.
If we have pets or children, it's really important to have a screen or glass. The other thing is, think about if you have carpeting around there and those sparks start to fly out. Never use shiny, glossy wrapping paper. It can explode.
Serious?
Yeah, it can explode.
What?
I know.
Wow, for like happy birthday or whatever.
Yeah, some of them really have that coating on them. And they're really
I did not know that.
And some people use it for everything. They're throwing everything in the fireplace.
Do people ever forget to open flues if it's a wood fireplace? And you have to open your flue with the gas fireplace if it's not vented, right?
Sure. So we have a lot of things with fireplaces. Get them inspected every year. Get them cleaned every year.
Okay.
Just be careful. Don't, before you go to bed at night. The other thing is when you load your logs, load them at the back.
Okay.
Because you know how they shift
and
as they're burning.
Forward or
and they fall forward.
Yeah.
It'll give them some space, a little safety space there to fall forward, rather than if you do it right at the edge, they could fall out.
You know, we're out of time already. I think we covered most of it, right?
Great.
Cinda Seamon, Hilton Head Fire Rescue, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching this edition of the WHHI News. I'm Allie McNair. We'll see you the next time.